team, just briefly introduce yourselves and explain a little bit about your business. So what type of work you do, where you're based, and the team.
Do you want to do it? Should I start?
There you go.
So Luke Mitchell Electrical, an electrician business, and it's about 10 years old. We're from Geelong in Victoria, Australia. And I came on the scene roughly 5 years ago. Is that right? When Luke had dropped from a massive team of 7 or 8 guys down to just one, I think, at that time. One or two, because he had grew his business. I think going, okay, the bigger and bigger and the more staff, the better.
Yeah, bigger is better.
Of course, it just meant a lot more work and stress and no more money for him. So he really, when I came along, there was no passion or fire in Luke for the business at all. It was sort of just a thing that he did to get a weekly wage.
Sure.
And that was cool because we were just a young couple, and didn't really matter. And then
Didn't need so much.
That's it. And then we fell pregnant with our twins, who happened to throw a spanner in the works when they arrived at 25 weeks.
Crazy times.
That's it, yeah. So we easily up and left home. Luke left the business running to his main guy, and we spent 4 months with our boys at the Royal Children's in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until we got home that Luke went, I've got to do something. We got to build this business because it's not just about us anymore. And
it was either go work for someone else and or have a crack at the business. Yep. And try and make something of it. Because there was a few more mouths to feed. There was a reason to have passion now too.
Yeah, man, it's funny how kids change things.
But it really wasn't until Luke we got onto you guys that really started piping up. It gave Luke the drive to give PT a go.
Because I said to Zoe, look, we have a crack at this, and then at least we know we've had a go.
Yeah.
Then maybe I could go work for someone else, But yeah, no, we took the dive, and we didn't know what we were doing. We weren't even that involved with PT. We sort of
coaxed along the first year.
Yeah, you kind of lurked for a little. You were lurkers for a little while.
What's that?
You were lurkers for a little while.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, and we didn't buy in probably at the start, and probably took 12 months really to buy in properly.
Yeah,
so,
it was the last
boot camp.
Yep.
But after that we were like, we got to get stuck into this.
Get involved, yeah. You definitely got to get involved to to make the progress, and it's so good that you have. So let's talk about that. So, what have been the biggest changes that you've made?
Well, when originally I was chatting to Phil was saying, get off the tools, and I'm like, no, I love working on the tools, and he's like, trying to say, well, you'd be better off the tools. And I couldn't grasp that. It took me ages. And so I've probably done 3 days on the tools in the last 8 months now. And the business has made more money than ever.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's insane. And so those times I do get coaxed on the tools for certain reasons. Stuff just doesn't get organised, and there's a flow-on effect. So it sort of does need me, in the office, steering the ship.
For sure.
Yeah. So
which has been like, and the beauty of that is it's been better on my body because I've played a lot of footy over the years, and working on the tools really hurts me. I end up getting headaches and stuff like that. So now I'm in the office, and I've been running the last 2 years, and I've just got heaps of time to run. I can go before work. I can knock off early. It just gives me a bit more personal time as well.
And isn't it interesting how if you stay fit and look after yourself, business gets better as well? Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy rather than a vicious circle.
Yeah. If I've had a run in the morning, I'm sharp as a tack at work.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, so good. So let's talk about some of the other changes you've made in terms of, looking at your numbers and the team and all the systems and stuff.
Yeah.
back costing. We that was the one thing we did start doing when we signed up. A lot of our jobs run for 6 to 18 months. We've had some that run for 3 years. So it's really hard to get the results on that back costing straight away. It's a constant thing that you've always got to be entering in. So that was a big thing, and
I think that back costing those big jobs of the architecturally designed, beautiful houses that look really good on your internet, and when you're telling your mates what you've been working on, I think the back costing made Luke realise that was actually not the most profitable way for his business to work. So that then led to looking at some more simpler maintenance jobs, quick turnaround ones, and also heading down the commercial path.
Yeah,
Does
so
that be right?
I had like 5 builders, and and they were my work. I didn't have to look for it. It was easy. Work was always coming in, and around the time we had the kids, I sort of realised that one of these builders was 50% of my work. I'm like, if I don't get a job or two of these guys,
You're in trouble.
We're stuffed. And this is the guy whose jobs run for 2 years at a time. So I'm like, well, we need to branch out, put myself out there more. So that's when, started advertising. Even just calling up on old contacts that I've had for over the years. And so now we're working for well over 10 builders. And I realised that those mid-range houses, there can be better money in it for us, because we're in and out. There's not that constant callback. And we have since got into air conditioning, and I realised that I couldn't. I was the one with the air conditioning license, but I was sitting in the office and I didn't actually want to do the work. So I employed a guy that had heaps of air conditioning experience. So we've had him since the start of the year, and that's generated a heap more income. And we're doing the same with solar at the moment as well. So, which is sort of, it's given the business, one extra arm with the air conditioning and hopefully another extra arm with the solar. Yeah,
it's cool because having too many eggs in one basket is pretty dangerous.
Oh, for sure.
Diversifying your client base is it's a massively important part of creating a stable business. So I think that's super good.
We also got a lady in the office a couple of days a week. She's been phenomenal. I was always skeptical. How do you teach them and all this sort of stuff? But she's just a little dynamo. And there was, there's a couple of days where I had to put all of my energy into her. But now she's sorted, and she's doing things that I didn't know we needed to do. And so now I've found myself working on our systems more. During this week, I've sorted out Trello for the boys, so we've got all that sorted. Stuff I wouldn't have had time to do if we didn't have her.
It's amazing how once you start to free up a bit of time, how then you can work on systems and other things that free up more time, and it starts to take on a life of its own. It's killer. I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The next thing is because I'm still doing a lot of the invoicing. Next thing's to move that onto her as well. I've just gone through all our pre-builds in Simpro and ground plan, so hopefully I've nailed it. That nicely now that anyone can quote. That's the plan anyway. So that hopefully that'll take another thing off my cards. The boys are all doing their certificates and certifications on site now, so that's another thing that's that I don't have to worry about. So just delegating it one job at a time is what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah. You build a successful business one block at a time, which is fantastic. So let's talk about results for you guys. So what have the results of these changes? What have they been for you, for the business and for your family?
So pre-PT, we're always behind on our bills. Always had a tax plan, paying tax debt, paying off the tax man. And I just thought that was just always going to happen. We got on top of that, the tax thing maybe a year ago. And that was sort of when we started pricing for profit, just before that.
I was going to say that was a big change in the business too.
So, now all of a sudden, stuff's getting paid on time. All payments are scheduled to come out, before they're meant to come. People aren't bringing up. So that's pretty ultimate. And I think our net profit for the year, jumped by, what it was.
A lot.
It was, it was, well, it went from about, we almost broke even last year to making 193 grand profit this year. So, huge jump.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, look, it couldn't happen to nicer people and, with what you've been through with the family and stuff.
Thank you.
So good. Gives me goosebumps. Nice. And how do you feel about the business now?
I look at it differently. Because I've got mates that are my age, plumbers and all stuff, and they're out there on the tools just killing themselves. And I chat to him and he's like, oh, we've got no work today. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm like, well, why don't you work on your systems? Like, get a few checklists for the boys. They've been meaning to do that. I'll do that one day. I'm just thinking about, just checklists and systems and numbers now.
I think as for the two of us too, we've basically Luke's best friend had twins the same time that we did. She does the bookwork for him as a plumber, and they put the kids to bed at night and off they go and do their bookwork, and that's just, Luke and I would never fathom to do something like that. We are asleep by 7:10 for starters.
Exactly.
To not ever have to worry about that, and to know that I have Luke home every single Saturday and Sunday, not a minute is spent on work. And that actually hasn't changed. He's never been a weekend worker. But I tell you what's changed is he used to stress on the weekend. So he'd be thinking about work. Whereas now he can go, well, that's done. Friday's done.
Being present is important. I think for a lot of people in business, it's a challenge of your mind's over here. Body's here. You're kind of like a split personality.
It's the key to life.
It totally is. Yeah. You can't be happy if you're not present. No. Cool. What I'd love to know, team, is what are the mindset changes that you've had to make?
Letting people know that I want to work for them. I was a bit arrogant. I just had builders ring me up and I'd say, books are full, mate. I think about that now. I'm like, what an idiot. I'd love to have their work. So and I think that's because my boss, when I was an apprentice, was very like that and was a bit monkey see, monkey do. And probably like the job we did at the start of the year, the church rewire. Years gone past, I would say it's too big for us. We're not capable, but we had a crack at it, and we did really well. Made some really good money on it, and it just sort of opened my eyes that we can do stuff, and and if there are bits of a job we can't do, we just get other people to come in and do that for us. So that we are capable of bigger things than I thought we were.
Mate, I reckon that's the key to success in business, probably in life as well as, busting through those, what do you call it, maybe self-limiting beliefs. Like if you start to think bigger, well, put it this way, you can't get a bigger and better business if you don't think bigger and better.
No, you'll never do a church rewire unless you do a church rewire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then
you got to give it a shot.
Yeah, that's cool. So massive.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So what would do you have any other advice for someone who's stuck with their business and really wants to make some improvements?
yeah, you would take a step back and just have a look at, think about what you want to get out of it, and realize that you pulling the cables or cutting the wood,
Yep.
Filing.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And you need to think about your future and just build something that will hopefully work without you in it eventually.
Yep.
And I'd say to trust in taking those small steps. I think you said it before, it's all about just tackling one little bit at a time. So, checklists, it'll take you one day of 1 week, and then you've got those for the rest of your business. Your hiring process, all of those things, that it's literally, you might spend hours in 1 week, but before you know it, we all know how quick a year goes by.
Yeah.
And you've done 52 things,
Yeah.
So to not be bamboozled by having to flip your business, because it's not about that. It's just about, let's work on this bit now, that bit next week.
Yeah, having a plan to focus on those things. You're so right. Like, you overestimate what you can do in a month, but you underestimate what you can do in a year, and the difference that it makes.
Yeah, like that first 90-day plan, which we probably didn't even, probably maybe ticked one thing off it. It was very daunting at first. But we're still sort of slowly getting there. But we've been picking things that suit us at the time to do. It's eventually sort of been working. So.
Well, for slow starters, you've come on really strong in the middle of the race, which is cool. And I think the thing that excites me, and I guess what I'd encourage you guys with, is that the best is actually yet to come for you with the business, because you've got a great base now, and there's some really exciting things in the future. So
I feel
I'd be excited.
Yeah,
I feel like I've only just sort of scratched the surface of learning stuff, and I've been working for myself for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, what a wasted few years,
Well, maybe.
Lessons along the way, though.
I think what you've taught Luke is that he's not an electrician; he's a business owner.
Business owner, CEO of your own business. That's key.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
He's got the passion, and I feel really proud of him too. So
yeah, that's cool. I love that. Team, great stuff. Really, really love hearing your story, and it's great to have you in our world as well.
Thank you.
No worries, pleasure.
Thank you and your team.
Yeah.
No problem.